Okay, very good afternoon, everybody. And this is the afternoon session on the third day of our presentation of semester one students. They are making presentation on romantic literature today. Let us have a list of the presenters and their topics. Okay, so first we will have ASHA making presentation on who is the real monster in Frankenstein. Followed by Divya's presentation on Frankenstein as a sci-fi, scientific fiction. Jatin will read it on how Frankenstein is different from that time's work. Okay, fine. That time's work, that is little bit awkward word. You can take help of AI tool to see that how in a better way this topic can be converted. Solanki will read on Frankenstein's legacy, Victor Frankenstein as a modern scientist. Jai Murania will read on the art of Gothic literature, an analysis of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. JAYSHRI's presentation on technology consequences, lessons from Frankenstein. KRISHNA will read on themes of the novel Pride and Prejudice. Capital O of is unnecessary. You should keep small o in of. KUSUM on creature and creator. Maya's presentation on Byron as a poet. Good to see Byron is coming in morning also. There were no poets from Keats, Byron and Shelley. Lots of presentations on Frankenstein, which is always quite attractive text. And for many years, we see the students are interested more in Frankenstein than the poets. Shivangi is not making presentation today. Vishwas will be on characteristics and salient features of Coleridge's poetry. Again, capital A in and, capital O in of is unnecessary. Remove capitalization of this connecting words. Key words should be capital. That is what we say. Key words in title should be capitalized, not all the words. Last one will be by HEMALI, and that will be on Pride and Prejudice, significance of the title. Okay, so let us start with the first presentation. You have disconnected yourself. You have to again first join. Today is the last day that somebody will help you. Then when we meet again on 8th, nobody will help you. So you have to do it yourself. So don't forget to do rehearsals during all these days.
So, very good afternoon to all. My topic name is Who is the Real Monster in Frankenstein? Uh, Victor Frankenstein is uh, Gothic fiction, science fiction novel. It was published in 1880. So, generally, we ask the question that who is the real monster in Frankenstein? There are three reason for Victor itself, the creature itself, and the society. So I found I read many readers viewed that Victor Frankenstein is the real monster in Frankenstein. So first, Victor Frankenstein, for his over ambition and abandonment of creature, he is a real monster, and delusionation and hallucination. It is one uh, one type of disease. Then he challenged the god, so he is a real monster, and so he wanted to break the law of nature and created a monster creature and abandoned him in horror. So Victor Frankenstein is a real monster. So the creature himself, why he is a monster. So scientific experiment of Victor, the creature is a real monster. He wants to. His intention is not bad because he wants to create a new life for and so then ugly looking, so society was rejected him for his ugly looking. Everybody is blamed to for ugly looking, and they are not accept that he is not good person for his bad looking. So ugly looking is for the uh, then take revenge and kill innocent people. Creature not by birth he is monster. So then nobody is monster by birth. The creature is kind-hearted, that he wants love to somebody else. So need human interjection, friend and family. Then continuously rejected by society. So he is monster and get frustrated by society. Then society is a real monster in Frankenstein. So society is continuously rejected him for his ugly looking. Then judge people by their physical appearance, not their intention. So we cannot blame any other by his physical appearance. So societies give him a name of monster. He are not a monster by birth. Then the concept of beauty in society, we are still know that beauty is most important at this time. He if someone is not good, not beautiful and bad looking, so he is definitely a bad person. Then the result was it creates many monsters in the society. Then here put I some quote. All men hate the rich, the how then must I be hated, who am miserable beyond all living things. Then why we are finding the monster in Frankenstein? Why do always we want someone to be blamed? This question is remaining. Then conclusion is there are three fault: the fault of Victor Frankenstein, fault of the creature, fault of the society. We cannot blame anyone that for the monster. And this is my site. And thank you so much. Now I'm open for the question. Please ask.
So, Asha, could the real monster in Frankenstein be seen as society which rejects and ostracizes the creature based on his appearance?
So certainly, the real monster in Frankenstein be seen as society, which reject and obstruct the creature solely based on his appearance. This perspective highlight the theme the theme of societal prejudice and society of prejudice and its role in creatures transformation into a revengeful figure.
So, Asha, in your opinion, who is the most monster character Frankenstein and why?
Uh, uh, it it is a matter of interpretation. The most character Frankenstein. So some readers tell that Victor Frankenstein is the real monster for his reckless ambition and abandonment of creature, and then some of the creator itself is a real monster for his kill innocent people. Thank you.
A very good afternoon to everyone. Respected sir and friends, my name is DIVYA and today is my presentation topic of Frankenstein as a sci-fi. This is my personal information and these are the contents which I discussed today about the author, introduction of novel, what is sci-fi, characteristic of sci-fi, and the important one is Frankenstein as a sci-fi, and the last conclusion about the author. First, I discuss about whenever we discuss about the Frankenstein or the sci-fi, we would know that the story, how the story or the history behind writing of the story, sci-fi. One of the time that Lord Byron, Mary Shelley, and P.B. Shelley, the debate between around that who was create the best. Invention of them, and that time we find that Mary Shelley, who was create the best invention of science fiction, and it is considered as the world first science fiction novel Frankenstein. About the author Mary Shelley, Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley was born in 13 August 1797 and died in 1st February 1851 in London. Her father was William Goldwyn, and mother was advocated in the authority or the rights of women, who wrote Frankenstein, considered as the early example or the first example in the world find as the science fiction. Introduction of the novel. Frankenstein or the Modern Prometheus is a novel by English author Mary Shelley. The novel was written in 1880 and published in 1821. Frankenstein tells the story of a protagonist. We find that Victor Frankenstein, a young scientist who creates a sapiens creature in an unorthodox scientific experiment. What is science fiction? The main figure of this. So what is science fiction? Science fiction is a genre of speculative fiction that contains imaginary elements that don't exist in the real world. Science fiction span a wide range of themes that often explore time travel, space travel, are set in the future, and deal with the consequences of technology and science advantage. Characteristic of science fiction. We find that science fiction is often called as a literature of ideas. Science fiction novels include a wide variety of futuristic concepts. Futuristic concept means we find that nowadays in our society or the India that we get the information about the India invents the new words in the earth, or we find that one movie about the Mission Mangalam, and the another invention that India gets soon the make a new world in March, and these are the related with the futuristic concept. Regardless of the setting and characters, all sci-fi stories are complex to understand and contains detail and explore the larger themes and sometimes satirically about the society and beneath the surface of society. Now, the main topic of my presentation, that Frankenstein, why we consider Frankenstein as a sci-fi novel. Frankenstein is a novel written by Mary Shelley in 1880 and published in 1821. Basically, the novel deals with the effect of science in humanity or on the humanity, combining the concept of supernatural elements and science in the fiction. We find that the elements of science and supernatural elements in the character of all character, and mostly in monster and the protagonist of Frankenstein. The novel explored the theme of human progress and degradation as the result of opportunity and discoveries. We find that the main character protagonist, Victor Frankenstein, who invented the monster, and how the end of the story, we find that the degradation and the opportunity and the quest of knowledge. We find the destroy of her own family. The whole story moves around the Victor Frankenstein and surrounding of the family of Victor Frankenstein, and a scientist who learns about the modern science and has become fascinated with the secret of life and the creation of a monster. We apply in this secret of life, and he's successful in creating a huge monster. The monster he created could be seen as a representation of all those who are wrong in the selfish name of science. Victor Frankenstein, compelled to lose his own family members, at the end we find that how Victor lose her and destroy the whole family at the end, because the creation of monster, her own creation, become the very cause of his own destruction of whole family and own self also. Frankenstein was curious enough to learn the hidden law of nature, and due to his fervent of love and science and quest of knowledge, this event of the novel is very symbolical for the development of modern science. Now, the conclusion. Frankenstein is often considered as the one of the early work of science fiction and the word for first science fiction written by Mary Shelley. The conclusion of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, we find that the novel ends with tragic death of Frankenstein and his creation. It highlights the potential dangers of scientific experimentation. The conclusion serves as the warning about the ethical implications of science, scientific and technology. In the nowadays, we find that television, films, and all that they create the new technologies and advancements of science, which are common theme in the science fiction, and we find in the literature also. These are my work cycle, and thank you very much, everyone. Now, anyone have a question regarding?
So, Divya, how you consider Frankenstein as a sci-fi?
Okay, now earlier I discussed that Frankenstein is considered as a science fiction. Science fiction is a genre, and we find that science fiction deals with mostly about the science, travels, and the invention, which find the new technologies. And in the novel, we find that how the Frankenstein, the protagonist, create a monster, and the help of the technology, and the Frankensteins which emerge in the late 19th century, and that's why we consider Frankenstein as a sci-fi.
So, Divya, how does the novel explore the theme of human progress?
Okay, the novel Frankenstein explored the main theme of human progress. We find that I also include that the novel Frankenstein. We find the character of Victor Frankenstein, the protagonist, how the consequences of his creation and invention. At the end, we find that the creation of the monster destroy the whole family, and we also find that there are both part of the advantage and disadvantages of technology and science in this novel. Thank you very much, Arvind.
So good afternoon everyone. My name is JATIN VARU. Today I am going to present how Frankenstein is different from that time's work and how it's connected with nowadays cinemas. So here are my some personal information. It's points to ponder. First of all, we know about writer. Second, about novel, different from that time's work and now connection with today's work and references. So we will start with about Mary Shelley. She was born in 13 August 1797 in Somerstown, London. Her father was a radical philosopher. His name was William Godwin. Her mother was a famous defender of women's rights. Her name was Mary Wollstonecraft. She married with famous poet P.B. Shelley in 1816. Mary Shelley is famous for as an author of Frankenstein or the Modern Prometheus. It was published in 1880. The Modern Prometheus is a subtitle of this novel. Frankenstein is considered as the first true work of science fiction novel. About Frankenstein, as Divya mentioned, she most of covered this topic in her PPT. Now we are getting some brief information about it. Frankenstein, written by Mary Shelley and published in 1880. During the time period of 1797 to 1851, Mary Shelley was staying at Lake of Geneva with Lord Byron, John Polidori, Clary Claremont, and P.B. Shelley. And that time, Byron proposed the group should write ghost stories. The Frankenstein novel was penned at a time when scientists were investigating the possibility to regenerate crops with the electricity. This point explained by Mary Shelley in the novel with the help of Victor Frankenstein and his creation. So now we are moving on the main point of my slide. It was how Frankenstein is different from that time's work. The Frankenstein, written by Mary Shelley and published in 1880, it's often considered one of the earliest examples of science and fiction literature. It's different from a work of its time in several ways. The first one is scientific theme. It explores scientific themes like the consequences of playing with nature, which were unusual for its time. Other works were often more focused on love, morality, and adventures. Genre evolution. Frankenstein was one of the first science fiction novels, while most work of that time were in the genre of romance, Gothic fiction, and classic literature. Narrative structure. The novel used a unique framing device where the story is told through a series of letters and narratives within a narratives. This was a less conventional structure of this time. Moral, moral dilemmas. The novel raises complex moral questions about the responsibility of the creator towards their creation. This was a relatively new theme in literature and changed the tradition noticed to a good and evil. The most important thing is a female authorship. Another unique except is that Mary Shelley, a woman, wrote this novel. During the early 19th century, female authors were not prevalent in the literature world, making her contribution particularly noteworthy. How Frankenstein is connected from nowadays film. Here I mentioned three reference movies regarding it. The first one is I, Robot. It was published in 2004, directed by Alex Proyas. The second was our Bollywood movie. It's a Robot. It was published in 2010, directed by S. Shankar. And the third one is The Avengers, The Age of Ultron, directed by Joel Weldon. Some similarity, we can find some similarity between this movie and Victor Frankenstein. Frankenstein, the novel. The first one is loss of control. The creator is this story struggle from maintain control over their creations and struggle with their creation in whole novel and movies like a Robot and I, Robot and the Avengers of Ultron. Consequence of playing God. In a Frankenstein, this movie character play the role of creator and face the several consequences of their actions, highlighting the habits of attempting to manipulate life or creator intelligent beings, creation and revolt. In both Frankenstein and the mentioned movie, the creator begins the monster robots and Ultron rebel against their creator of human society. They seek autonomy and challenge the invention of their creators. Conclusion. Overall, Frankenstein stands out for its innovative themes, narrative structure, and exploration of the human condition, making it a unique and enduring work in the literary landscape of its time and beyond. And in the second side, Frankenstein continues to be a touchstone for filmmakers, providing rich thematic material that responds with a commentary audience and exploring the boundaries of science and human condition and the consequence of our action. Here are some references of my work, and thank you for your attention. Now, anybody have any question regarding it?
So, Jatin, which is the central point in your comparison? Therefore, you compare Frankenstein with Robert and the Age of Ultron movies.
According to me, a loss of control is a central point to we compare the Frankenstein novel and regarding and mention this movie Age of Ultron, Robot and I, Robot. We can find out Victor Frankenstein loses his control upon the monster, and other side Dr. Vasikaran, who creates a Chitty robot, and he also loses her control upon Chitty. And Age of Ultron, Dr. Tony Stark, I think Tony Stark make a Ultron. Ultron is a software who protect the Earth with aliens attack, and we can find out he also loses control upon Ultron. So this is a main point.
Jatin, my question is that why did Mary Shelley write Frankenstein and what was the reason behind it?
During a time period of 1751 to 1797 to 1851, Mary Shelley, Lord Byron, John Coleridge, P.B. Shelley, they were staying in Lake of Geneva. And that time, Lord Byron was proposed to group to how we write this type of work like a horror and science fiction. So there is my answer. Thank you for your attention.
So very good afternoon to everyone. My name is Solanki, and today I am going to present on paper number 3 from Frankenstein's Legacy, Victor Frankenstein as a Modern Scientist. So as we first find out that like most of the VR batch are taking Frankenstein because it is the very famous text, and in that text we also found very unique type of scientific fiction as well. So this is my personal information. Now we come to the table of content that what we going to now talk about. That first I will give a brief introduction about Victor Frankenstein. Then I will give modern perspective on Frankenstein, and then scientific advancement in modern time, and then we come to the conclusion. So let's start with the Victor Frankenstein, the Frankenstein novel of the like main character protagonist. He's a Swiss student of natural science. Like he's like into the science categories side, and Victor create an artificial man by reanimating piece of corpse corpses, and he brings his creature to life through his scientific experiment. So like in when he's study in university, so there are the science fiction going on, so how their professor are telling the not to do, but still he's doing such experiment and create a monster, or we can say the creature. Victor seeks to bestow affection on his creature. So he's very affect on his creature, that if like he want to uh, he want to make another human, but in experiment he lose his some temperament, and he creates some creature now, and he create creature, and that is he is not like that good or well happy with it. Victor's ambition and pursuit of knowledge lead to tragic consequences. So, as I say that Victor is in a science field, so he's like a very when he listened to the professor about talking about the uh, a new human being or create a new human being. So Victor Frankenstein also think about, now let's make a new human being, but as I say, he create a creature or a monster that not like Victor is not expect. The monster is ultimately turned against Victor and leading to his demons. So like the monster is first Victor is making his, and Victor is living him. So like monster is like not to revenge it. That's why it's turned against Victor. So now let's talk about modern perspective of Frankenstein. So Frankenstein is famous novel by Mary Shelley that's often seen as a symbol of concern about the risk of science and technology, include genetic engineering. So in Frankenstein, we can say the science and technology are used so much, because the Victor Frankenstein is uh, he is courage to know to create a human being, a new human being. But as I said, he create a creature. But at the same time, we can say that Mary Shelley, how he show his perspective to the modern time, the how the modern time and the that time's tech Frankenstein is connect with it. The novel challenged the idea that science and technology are entirely bad and should be avoided, emphasizing the importance of social relationship in shaping their outcomes. So the novel challenge the idea that science and technology are entirely bad. So the novel, we can find out that Frankenstein, the monster is creating with the science and technology, and that's turned very harmful to the family of Victor and also Victor as well. It has become particularly relevant in discussions about biotechnology and genetic engineering. The diversity of interpretation of Frankenstein reflect the changing time, the culture, politics surrounding the myth. So, in modern perspective, we also find out the myth about how the myth, the Mary Shelley is not is going on the text talking about the Victor Frankenstein and the monster, how they are in scientific fiction is showing, but is also surrounded by the myth. The novel is not just a story of doom and technology is dangerous, but explore ambiguity, responsibility, and accountability in science and technology. So, in this novel is also not the story of doom and technology. As I said, it is very dangerous to find out in modern perspective. If offers a subtle criticism of both anti-enlightenment romanticism and anti-enlightenment science that can help us critically evaluate the modern economical ideas. So in this modern perspective of Frankenstein, we can find out the real point of the romantic is like anti-romantic or anti-science, that modern econological ideas are shown as well. So now we come to the main topic, or we can say main idea, what is the scientific advancement and how Victor will be if he is in modern time or modern scientist. So Victor Frankenstein ambition to create life mirror the pursuit of intelligent machine in AI development. So if you imagine Victor Frankenstein in today's time or modern time, then you can find out if Victor Frankenstein creates such a human or monster, then how AI will create it. So in that text we can see that there is doing some taking some part of other other humans and other part and create in such a very disguised way. But in modern time we have AI, like we have chat GPT here, we have Bard Google, but we are using it as a we are using as a good type. But if AI is creating such a human, then we can find out if the human is not in a good is not creating with good intelligent or good manners, then we can find out the very most and dangerous, or we can say the destruction in the modern time if Victor Frankenstein was a modern scientist. As for sin, consequential and ethical dilemmas arise when article creating artificial intelligence, just as Victor faced with his creator. As I said, that if Victor create his is a human being as a creature in this modern time, then he also faced lot of problem in that. The relation between creator and creation is in Frankenstein reflect the responsibility of AI developer toward their AI system. So right now we have most of in our world 50 to 80% 80% people are using the AI system, and in AI system they are also creating if you can say the AI generator or AI face imager, or also they are making AI humans also. The need of ethical frameworks and interdisciplinary collaboration in AI development to ensure responsible and positive impact. So in ethical frameworks we can connect the AI develop, how AI develop in the positive way. But if Victor Frankenstein doing such things that not in favor of him, or in his society, they are right now the society is not too much against it, that AI is very good. But if Victor Frankenstein creates such a human being, then if this human being the text in the creature, then there is a lot of problem will start happening. AI's potential for good should be harmed with cause, similar to cautionary lesson from Frankenstein. as like the same way as AI is created in like modern time, that Victor Frankenstein is is very we can say is study very hard in science and technology, so he can I know he can do some experiment and will be success. But what happen if the experience go wrong, then the lot of things will experience. So now let's uh, before we come to conclusion, there is a Victor Frankenstein one line that's such were the professor words, rather let me say such a words of fate announced to destroy me. So it's showing that how he first he create his monster and then now he's regret it why I create this monster. So now we come to the conclusion that Victor embodies the archetype of ambitious and boundary pushing scientist and reminiscent of modern research is various field. His pursuit of knowledge and innovation reflect the relentless quest for scientific discoveries seen in today's scientist. Victor unit unintended consequences and ethical dilemmas paralyze the challenge faced by contemporary scientists and technologists. Victor Frankenstein served as a cautionary example of potential danger of unchecked scientific ambition, a restoring with modern concern in scientific and technology domain. So, as if we can find, if we come to the conclusion, then we can find that if Victor Frankenstein will uh, because if Victor Frankenstein is a modern scientist, then we can imagine that how he will create something he creating text. So if it grow wrong, then a lot of problem and a lot of destruction will happen. So that is my reference, and thank you everyone for listening. Now you can ask me question.
Jay, my question is that in what way can the novel help us to evaluate modern ecological ideals?
If I say in modern ecologic ideas, that we can first if we see in the novel that how it not if I say is not help us in like in text, like if the showing that how Victor Frankenstein is create a monster in text, that like Mary Shelley is showing the science and technology, how if it also turn in destruction. But if we say in modern ideas, then if as I imagine that Victor Frankenstein is a good creator, and also he will create such a good like experiment, doing good experiment, and also ecologic ideas will be in that scientific fiction. Okay, next one.
So my question is that should we be careful when you using AI for good, like we learned to cautious from the story of Frankenstein?
Yes, as I mentioned in my slide, that how AI is using in modern time as like a very good way. As I give an example of ChatGPT and Bar Google, and also AI system also developed. It's very developing and day to day by chance. But if story of Frankenstein we can see, then if we connect to the idea of AI in modern time, or we can say if Victor Frankenstein is not creating such a human being, then the idea of the novel or the creature is not with connect with or AI, or not in any single artificial intelligence. So that's my answer. Thank you, everyone.
Good afternoon all. Today I deal with the art of Gothic literature and analysis of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. This is my personal information. Table to content. About Mary Shelley, introduction, background, Gothic literature, citation, and then conclusion. About Mary Shelley. Mary Shelley was an English novelist whose work has reached all corners of the globe. She is best known as the author of Frankenstein or the modern Prometheus in 1880. Shelley was the daughter of the radical philosopher William Godwin and who described as her singularly bold, somewhat imperious and active of mind. Her mother, who died day after her birth, was the famous defender of the women's rights, Mary Wollstonecraft. Mary grew up the five semi-related sibling and Godwin's unconventional but intellectually electric household. A ghost writing concept on a stormy June night in 1860 inspired Frankenstein. Influenced by experiment of Lungi Galvani, it was concerned with the distinctive nature of power when allied to wealth. Shelley was 90 when she wrote the novel. She died on 1 February 1851. Introduction Gothic literature. Emerging in Europe in the 18th century, Gothic literature grew out of Romantic literary movement. It is a genre that places strong emphasis on intense emotion, pairing terror with pleasure, death with romance. Gothic literature has been popular genre for centuries, captivating readers with his dark themes, mysterious setting. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is a prime example of this genre, exploring the concept of creation and consequence of playing God. In this, we deal into art to Gothic literature and examine Shelley's masterpiece, exploring its themes, motive, and symbolism. As noted by literary critic Angela Wright, Gothic fiction is a genre that creates a sense of the terror and suspense, usually through the supernatural element and dark foreboding settings. Shelley's Frankenstein certainly embodies this element with his airy atmosphere, horrific imaginary themes of death and destruction. Background Mary Shelley Frankenstein is a timeless classic and masterpiece in Gothic literature since its publication in 1880. Frankenstein. To analyze and explore the Gothic literature in Mary Shelley Frankenstein, begin with origin and characteristics of Gothic literature. Influence on Mary Shelley Frankenstein is the examination and various elements of Gothic literature that are present in novel, including its setting, themes, and character. Origin and characteristics of Gothic literature. Gothic literature emerged in the late 18th century as a reaction and Enlightenment and Industrial Revolution. Gothic literature is characterized by dark, mysterious, and supernatural element as well. Oran terror of emotional and response for reader. Gothic literature is a literature of expert the produce imaginative world of horror, romance, and terror. The genre known use of gloomy setting, haunted castle, supernatural beings, and characters who are often haunted by their past. Influence of Gothic literature on Frankenstein. Mary Shelley Frankenstein is considered a Gothic novel because of its dark and airy themes, emphasis of horror and terror. According to Cage and Thompson, Shelley Frankenstein combined the element of supernatural and grotesque and sublime to create unique vision of the Gothic element of Gothic literature in Frankenstein. The setting of Frankenstein is a key element of Gothic literature. The novel is set in remote, isolated locations such as sea, Alps, and Arctic, which contribute sense of unease, the foreboding to permit the story. The novel central theme is dangerous of scientific ambition is also common theme in Gothic literature. As a character, the suffer the consequence of their attempts to control and understand the natural world. The character in Frankenstein are also typical of Gothic literature. The monster is grotesque and frightening creation, a demon who inspired the disgust in those who encounter him. Victor Frankenstein, the novel's protagonist, is a tormentor figure who, haunted by the consequence of his action, he is consumed by his desire, knowledge, and power, and leads to him create and monster. Shelley uses this character to explore the dark aspect of human nature and danger and unchecked ambition. Significance of Frankenstein in Gothic literature. Mary Shelley Frankenstein is an important work in the development Gothic literature. The novel helped to popularize the Gothic genre and influenced by many subsequent works of literature, including Bram Stoker, Dracula, and Robert Louis Stevenson's strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. The novel exploration of the dangers of science and consequence of ambition also contribute to the development of science fiction as a genre. In conclusion, Mary Shelley Frankenstein is a masterpiece of Gothic literature. The novel draws heavily on Gothic tradition, and Shelley used the setting, themes, character helps to create the sense of horror and terror, captivated readers to generation. Frankenstein is a significant in the development of Gothic literature and science fiction, and his last impact on literary world cannot be overstated. Shelley's novel remains timeless classes and testament the power of Gothic literature. This is my reference. Thank you. Now, question.
So, Jay, how does Mary Shelley's Frankenstein exemplify the elements of Gothic literature?
In Mary Shelley Frankenstein, exemplify the element of Gothic literature are like a supernatural element, artistic isolation, and masked themes, mysterious themes. There are example element of Gothic literature. You can say.
So, Jay, my question is, what role does the setting play in creating a Gothic atmosphere in Frankenstein?
In Frankenstein, the setting play like a remote laboratory. In Victor Frankenstein, isolated isolated place, and gloomy castle are three settings in play Gothic atmosphere in Frankenstein. Thank you.
So, good afternoon, everyone. Myself, JAYSHRI KHACHAR. Today, I am going to give my presentation on technological consequences, lessons from Frankenstein. So, this is my personal information, and this is the table of the content. I am going to start with Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Frankenstein is a novel by Mary Shelley, first published in 1880. It's about a scientist, Victor Frankenstein, who creates a creature from a dead body parts but soon regrets it. The novel explores themes of ambition, scientific responsibility, and social rejection. The story has had a significant cultural impact and is considered as a classic in a science fiction literature. By using the themes and moral dilemmas from Frankenstein to analyze real world accidents, highlighting the consequences of scientific and technological advancements and ethical responsibilities in our modern world. Modern relevance. Mary Shelley's novel Frankenstein remains highly relevant in the discussion of the consequences of unchecked technology. It serves as a cautionary tale, highlighting the potential danger when scientific and technological advancements are pursued without ethical or moral constraints. In the novel, Victor Frankenstein's unchecked ambition leads to the creation of a powerful but ultimately uncontrollable creature, which wreaks havoc and suffering. Similarly, in the real world, the rapid advancement of technology such as artificial intelligence, genetic engineering, and nuclear power presents risk when not accompanied by responsible and ethical consideration. Frankenstein reminds us of the importance of considering the moral, social, and environmental implications of our technological pursuits and serves as a timeless warning against unchecked scientific progress. So, Frankenstein and significant ambition. The central theme of a scientific ambition is portrayed as both a driving force and a destructive element throughout the novel. Victor's ultimate ambition is realized when he succeeds in bringing life to inanimate matter, resulting in a creation of a humanoid creature. Victor's scientific ambition is a double-edged sword. It drives him to push the boundaries of what is possible, yet it blinds him to the ethical and moral consequences of his actions. His obsession with his experiments leads to the neglect of his responsibilities, the suffering of his loved ones, and the tragic consequences of his creation, who is rejected by society and becomes a symbol of his unchecked ambition. In summary, Frankenstein explores the theme of a scientific ambition through Victor Frankenstein's relentless pursuit of knowledge and his creation of the creature. It illustrates the perils of unbridled ambition when ethical and moral considerations are cast aside, ultimately leading to a disastrous consequences. So these are the some accidents which happen in our history. So the first is the Chernobyl nuclear disaster. The Chernobyl nuclear disaster in 1986 caused by an explosion during a safety test at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant shares similarities with the unchecked scientific ambition of Victor Frankenstein in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Both involve uncontrolled ambition, a lack of ethical consideration, neglect of responsibility, and devastating consequences stemming from the pursuit of scientific goals without proper caution and moral awareness. Second one is the Deepwater Horizon oil spill. This was happened in Mexico. The Deepwater Horizon oil spill in 2010 resulted from a catastrophic blowout due to technical failures and human errors, emphasizing the role of unchecked technological ambition. This disaster is akin to the unintended consequences of Victor's creation in Frankenstein, as both cases highlight the failure to anticipate negative outcomes and the resulting environmental devastation and human suffering when ethics and caution are overlooked in technological pursuits. Bhopal gas tragedy 1984. This happened in our India. The Bhopal gas tragedy is one of the worst industrial disasters in history. It occurred in Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh, when a pesticle plant owned by Union Carbide Corporation released a toxic gas cloud containing methyl isocyanide. The incident resulted in thousands of immediate death and long-term health problems for survivors. It is a tragic example of industrial negligence and inadequate safety measures in India, leading to a widespread public outrage and a significant legal and environmental consequence. Frankenstein and the Bhopal gas tragedy involves the consequences of human actions, ethics, and the unintended effects of scientific and industrial pursuits, but they are distinct in their context and origins. The Facebook Cambridge Analytica scandal. The Facebook Cambridge Analytica scandal happened in 2018, involved the unauthorized acquisition of and misuse of personal data from millions of Facebook users. It shares theme with Frankenstein in terms of manipulation, unintended consequences, and ethical dilemmas, and the violation of privacy. Both highlight the impact of unethical behavior in the digital age and its consequences for individual and society. Lessons learned. The real-world accidents discussed when linked to Frankenstein underscore the critical importance of responsible technology development and ethical considerations. The key lessons involve recognizing the danger of unchecked ambition, anticipating unintended consequences, embracing ethical and moral responsibilities, promoting responsible innovation, safeguarding data privacy, and mitigating environmental consequences. These lessons are essential in our modern technology-driven world to ensure a more ethical and responsible approach to scientific and technological advancement. So now I'm going to conclude it. In conclusion, the story of Frankenstein serves as a cautionary tale, highlighting the profound technical consequences that can arise when scientific advancement are pursued without ethical consideration. It teaches us the importance of responsible innovation, the need of balanced progress with morality, and the potential dangers of playing with the forces of nature. This is my reference, and thank you. Now, anybody have a question, so please ask me.
Where did the Chernobyl nuclear disaster occur, and what were the results?
So the Chernobyl nuclear disaster occurred in Ukraine. The results of this nuclear disaster was a long-term health problems. Yeah, it's also like we have seen that Hiroshima and Nagasaki nuclear attack, but it's different in that Hiroshima and Nagasaki there that place there were so many people died, but here in this incident only 30 people died, but that was very dangerous for the environment and for health of the future generations. Anyone else?
So, JAYSHRI, can you give me example of modern technological devices that can connect with the indigo Frankenstein in reality?
Yes. So According to me, the monster is our phone. If we use our phone in a good way, then it's good, and if we don't use in a good way, then it's endless, just like ending of the Frankenstein. Like we use social medias and so many things. We heard that so many people died because of cyberbullying and all that can lead us to a tragedy. Thank you.
Good afternoon to all. My name is KRISHNA. Today my presentation topics, themes of the novel Pride and Prejudice. Jane Austen. Jane Austen. She was born December 16, 1775, Steventon, Hampshire, England. Died July 18, 1870, Winchester, Hampshire. English writer who first gave the novel its distinctly modern characters through her treatment of ordinary people in everyday life. Introduction. The novel Pride and Prejudice was one of the most popular published novel by Jane Austen. It was her first composed novel, first impression in 1997, but unluckily, it was rejected by publisher. The main reason for the rejection was her feminine gender and for her first work. Themes of the novel: pride, prejudice, marriage, and class. So first discuss pride. Pride is a conscious presence in the characters' attitudes and treatment of each other, their judgment and leading them to make rash mistakes. Pride blinds Elizabeth and Darcy to their true feelings about each other. Pride blinds Elizabeth and Darcy to their true feelings about each other. Darcy's pride about his social rank makes him look down, and anyone not in his immediately circle. Prejudice. Prejudice in Pride and Prejudice refers to the tendency of the characters to judge on another based on the preconception rather than on who they really are and what they actually do. As the book's title implies, prejudice goes hand to hand with pride, often leading its heroine and hero into making wrong assumption about motive and behavior. Marriage. Pride and Prejudice is a love story, but its author is also concerned with how the pointing out the inequality that governs the relationship between man and woman, and how it affects woman choice and option regarding marriage. Austen portrays a world in which choice
for individual are a very limited base almost rank and connection. Class is a target of much of the novel's criticism of society in general. uh, austin Austin makes it clear that people like Lady Catherine, who are overly interested in their social position, are guilty of mistreating other people. Other characters like the shark of Mr. Collins and the scheming Caroline are depicted as truly empathy, their opinions and motivation completely defined by the dictates of the class system. Conclusion. The conclusion of Pride and Prejudice involves Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy overcoming their personal prejudice and social expectation of to find true love. The novel ends with their marriage symbolize a harmonious union based on mutual respect, love, and understanding. This is my reference. Thank you. Anybody question?
So, Krishna, I want to ask you that how does the prejudice in Elizabeth Bennet break free?
Pride and Prejudice is essentially the story how to Elizabeth Bennet overcomes all absence in their personal failing to her romantic happiness. Anybody?
Ask this question.
Krishna, how does the pride in Darcy break free?
Darcy is intelligent and forthright. Darcy had to just to her her just to his hers hesitantly and harshly and him to he's overly proud and overly conscious in her in his social status. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is KUSUM. My today's presentation is about creator and creature. These are the table of contents which we are going to discuss in the presentation. Let me discuss first about author, the bold lady, Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley. She was born in 1791 and died in 1851. English romantic novelist, best known for Frankenstein. The only daughter of William Godwin and Mary Wollstonecraft. Her mother was very bold, and we can see the same as personality of Mary as well. And in 1822, Mary eloped with P.B. Shelley to France and married in 1860. Victor and creature. In Frankenstein, the main character, creature, creates a linked and complex multi-dimensional relationships, such as hero and villain. As not a totally hero and villain, but by some deeds and some actions, we can see that there is one hero and one is villain. One relation is that father and son. That one is father and one is son. Victor is considered as father and son is creator. Creator and creature. Has not gave birth to creature, but we can see that Victor Frankenstein has created that monster by taking dead body's legs and heads and everything. So we can see that there is Victor Frankenstein is a creator, is a maker, and creature is his creation. Relationship of hero and villain. Victor Frankenstein and creature is not marked by a simple hero villain pattern. Neither of these men exactly heroes, but neither of them are anti-heroes, because the author sympathizes with both while condemning them both simultaneously. Not only the author, but when we are reading the story, reading the novel, we can easily connect that the poor situation of creature, that how Victor has taken him as a granted, how almost throw him. So we feel sympathy for the creature, and with the same thing, we feel sympathy for the Victor as well. That how his innocent family members are killed by one creature. So in that way, both can find a sympathy from the reader and from the author as well. Who is dominant? In beginning of the story, Victor is a person who have made a creature whose fate in his hand. Okay, it's a very simple thing that if I have anything that this is mine, I can do whatever with it. For example, if I have any toy that it is mine, I can do whatever with it. But what if that toy start to controlling me? And the same thing happening in the story. The creator, as time passes, Victor's fate is in creature's hand. Like we can see the power of knowledge and physical power at one platform. The creator knows that he is in powerful position and as the stronger of two and can threaten Victor, and he does the same, and he do the same, that he kill the innocent family member of Victor. There is a dialogue. It is said by the creature. You are my creator. See, you are my creator, but I am your master. You are my creator. Yes, I'm agree with that. But I am physically strong than you. I can do whatever I want, and that is why I'm your master. It is like he says with attitude. Like in a KGF, we can see that how that Rocky's character is authorize all the coal mines and all the authority. There is one very famous dialogue of him that if you think you're bad, then I am your dad. Like it full of attitude. Mirror of creator and creature. Victor and monster. These are some similarities of both the characters. Victor and monster can say to mirror each other in terms of their education. Firstly, Victor eventually attends university. The creature too is self-taught. He learned how to speak by observing French family, that Felix family. Victor and creature seek the same remedy for loneliness, love. As the creature, after making creature, Victor go to home and ready to marry with Elizabeth. So this thing we can see that mirrorized by the creator, by the creature, that he also demanding for the lady companion, that everyone has a companion, my maker has a companion, that I also want a lady companion. In the whole story we can see that how creature is sympathized, and there is a Hindi song by of Raj Kapoor. It is written by maybe Mukesh, and the movie is that तीसरी कसम, yes, the words is like काहे को दुनिया बनाई, it is like काहे को तूने दुनिया बनाई, काहे बनाया तूने दुनिया का मेला, that all this stuff, that काहे बनाया तूने ये माटी के पुतले, and बैठा बैठा तू बस देखे तमाशा, and क्या रे तेरी खुदाई. So the same thing, because we can see in the story that he is continuously complaining to Victor that why you made me, and if now I'm exist, then why are you not ready to accept me? Why are you taking me as a granted? Let me conclude the topic here. The relationship between Victor Frankenstein and his creator is complex and ultimately tragic by the downfall of both the characters. Victor's abandonment of his creation as the creature's relentless pursuit of companionship lead to tragedy for both by death of them. Victor perished while pursuing the creator, and creatures expresses deep regret and sorrow for his action. Story serves as a cautionary tale about the ethical responsibility of creature and the tragic outcomes of social rejection. Here are some works cited, and thank you. We can discuss the questions now.
How Victor creature is considered as a father and son?
Yes, as I mentioned in between presentation, that Victor is a father of creation. We can say this, that creature has no family, and he has only one man, has only one relation, and that is Victor. And because Victor has made this creator, and in that way, father and son. Thank you, Krishna.
So, Kusum, my question is that how does Victor Frankenstein's treatment of his creation impact the creator's view of humanity and his actions throughout the novel?
Victor has like totally taken granted as his creator, that he was not. He will says that now I'm not responsible for the creator. His ill treatment and his rejection leads the creature to his downfall, or we can say his angriness and loneliness as well. And whatever the creature done, that by kill that innocent family members, is all the creation, all the actions are happening just because of Victor's reaction, just because of Victor's rejection. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Maya Bhatia. Today's my presentation topic of Byron as a poet. This is my personal information. Byron as a poet. Introduction. Lord Byron, in full name George Gordon Byron. Lord Byron, born 22 January 1808, died 19 April 1824. British romantic poet and satirist whose poetry and personality captures the imagination of Europe. Renowned as the gloomy egoist of his autobiographic poem Child Herald's Pilgrimage in the 19th century. Byron's early life and influences. Byron was the son of the handsome and profligate Captain John Byron and his second wife Catherine Gordon as Scott Headless. Byron was raised by his mother Catherine Gordon of Gate in London. His father was absent, having fled to France to escape creditors. Lord Byron was born with a clubbed foot, which he was self-conscious of throughout his life. Education. Byron's early education took place at Aberdeen Grammar School and Harrow School. He later attended Trinity College, Cambridge, where he took part in number of pranks and broke the rules against pets by keeping a tame bear on a chain. He eventually graduated with a master's degree. Major works. First, Child Harold's Pilgrimage in 1812 to 1880. Second, Don Juan, 1819, 1824. 3. Manfred, 1817. 4. The Cure, 1813. 5. The Corsairs, 1814. 6. She Walks in Beauty, 1814. Romanticism and Lord Byron. Lord Byron, a prominent English poet, was a key figure in the Romantic movement. His Romanticism was very different and deviated from the essence of real Romantic essence. Byron is the most distinguished Romantic poet among the other Romantic poets. He seems to go back to the 18th century New Classical writings where the poet emphasizes on wits, impact and legacy. Lord Byron is known for writing highly influential Romantic poetry. The PGA Tour sets up shop this week in the Lone Star Stake for the SP Byron Nelson Championship. Lord Byron won 52 times during his Hall of Fame career, and his performance in his 1945 seasons still serves as the model of consequence, not to mention dominance. Nelson recorded 18 wins that year, including the likely never to be broken streak 11 in a row. Consistency was Nelson's signature of the course as well. Maybe you can replicate Nelson's golf skill. His fashion sense, however, is easily repeatable. Conclusion. Byron was a superlative writer, conversational, witty, and relaxed at the 20th century. Publication of many previous unknown later has further enhances in literary reputation. This is my side. Thank you. Now you can ask questions.
Maya, I want to ask that which themes did Byron mostly explore in his poems?
Byron explore often poetry themes of love, nature, individualism, and sublime. He is also known for emotional expression. Any question?
Hello, Maya. Which kind of poetry wrote by Lord Byron?
Lord Byron, various type of poetry writing in and The romantic poet is very famous. First famous poem, Child Harold Pilgrimage, and Don John, and the she is she work beauty. The theme of nature, love, individualism, and sublime in of human nature. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I will talk about characteristic and silent features of Coleridge poetry. Characteristic of Coleridge poetry. Coleridge is thoroughly a romantic poet in every respect. His imagery, symbolism, nature, mysticism, emotion, metaphor, quality of his poetry. His poetry is the pinnacle of romanticism. Imagery. Coleridge's poetry is filled with vivid and evocative imagery. He often used strong sensory images and to create a dream-like atmosphere in the poem. Symbolism. Coleridge was a master at using the symbols to explore his ideas. He often used symbols illustrate his ideas of nature, faith, and human conditions. Nature. Nature is a major theme in Coleridge poetry. He often used nature as a symbols of the divine and a metaphor for the spiritual journey. Mysticism. Coleridge was influenced by the Romantic movement, and he was a believer in the power of supernatural. He often explored theme of the mysticism and spirituality in his poem. Emotional. Coleridge's poetry full of emotions, and he often wrote about his own feelings and anguish, despair, and joy. His work is known for its emotional intensity. Metaphor. Coleridge often used metaphor to express his ideas and in vivid and creative ways. He often used metaphor to draw comparison between his physical words and his spiritual idea. Silent features of Coleridge poetry. Features of Coleridge poetry: treatment of supernaturalism, suspicions of disbelief, satisfying writing style, and realism and medievalism. A treatment of supernaturalism. Coleridge had a fascinations with the supernatural and the mystical. This is evident in his famous poem, The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, which incorporate supernatural elements and explore theme of guilt, redemptions, and the unknown. Suspicions of disbelief. Suspicions of disbelief is evidence often describes as willing of a critical thinking and logical and understanding something that the unrevealed or impossible in reality, such as something in a work, speculative fictions, or in order to believe it for the sake of enjoying its narrative. Satisfying writing style. The writing style is often Coleridge is a satisfying. The event in his poem are not unconnected, like dream and hallucinations. Realism and medievalism. Coleridge was drawn the medieval literature and folklore.
often incorporating these elements into his poetry. This interest can be seen in his use or Arabic language and themes inspired by medieval tales. This is my reference. Thank you. If anyone have a question.
Krishna, you are writing 99. That you can remove. There's no need to write 99 in the name.
Vishwa, my question is Samuel Tyler Coleridge is associated with which particular concept?
The concept associated with Coleridge, Coleridge is a professor and a prominent English poet as a Romantic era, and included some several keys like imaginations, natures, supernaturals, Kubla Khans, and biography literaria. These are some several concepts associated with Coleridge. Next.
Vishwa, my question is that what is the purpose of Coleridge's poetry?
The purpose of Coleridge poetry is considered that the poetry is a sympathies of the whole activity of the poet, and so poetry is connected to the highest value of art. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Myself, HEMALI PARMAR. Today we are delving into Pride and Prejudice significance of the title. Here is my personal information. About author Jane Austen, a renowned British author, wrote classics like Pride and Prejudice and Sense and Sensibility. Despite societal norms, she had to publish anonymously due to gender restrictions. Her novels, including Emma, reflect her observation of the 18th and 19th century English society. Interestingly, she never married, drawing from her own experiences to craft her compelling narratives. Title explanation. The title of the book, Pride and Prejudice, was originally going to be First Impressions, but later Jane Austen changed it to the current title. Pride and Prejudice refers to the initial attitudes of the characters, Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy. Elizabeth is initially prejudiced against Darcy's pride, and he is proud of his social status. The story shows how they both learn from their mistakes, leading to mutual respect and love. Mr. Darcy has pride. In Pride and Prejudice, Jane Austen explores the theme of pride through her characters. Mr. Darcy starts off very proud but changed by the end, showing that people can overcome pride. Austen uses various characters to demonstrate prideful behavior, emphasizing the novel's central theme of personal growth and humility, but Mr. Darcy has the most pride. Elizabeth Bennet as Prejudice. Elizabeth Bennet represents prejudice. She forms quick judgments about people, including Darcy, based on her first impressions and prejudices. Her initial prejudice against Darcy is rooted in his apparent arrogance and social status. As the story progresses, Elizabeth's character develops and she learns to overcome her prejudices, leading her to see beyond social norms and status, eventually realizing the depth of Darcy's character and the sincerity of his feelings. R.C. Fox's interpretation. The title Pride and Prejudice has sparked much discussion, yet its true significance has often been overlooked due to narrow interpretations. R.C. Fox argues that Jane Austen used the title to cater to popular literary styles, cautioning against overanalyzing it. While the conventional view links the title to Darcy's Pride and Elizabeth's Prejudice, Fox contends that the core conflict lies in pride versus vanity. This perspective challenges traditional readings, highlighting a deeper moral conflict within the characters. Impact on relationships. In Pride and Prejudice, relationships are essential. Some characters marry for love, but many seek security and money. Each person has a unique view on love and marriage. Parents like Mrs. Bennet often push their daughters to marry wealthy men. This reflects the societal pressure of the time, where marriages were influenced by financial stability and appearances. Relevance today. In Pride and Prejudice, Darcy and Sir William Lucas show how society judges people based on their wealth and occupation. This still happens today, where unfair judgments are made about individuals because of their jobs. The book's message about societal perceptions remains relevant in today's world. Conclusion. Essence. Title encapsulates human flaws, pride and prejudice driving the narrative. In interpretation, R.C. Fox analysis enriches the characters, revealing deeper layers of meaning. Impact shapes relationships, societal dynamics, and imparts enduring life lessons. Significance. Title serves as a lens to explore societal norms, personal growth, and societal expectations, making it a quintessential study in literature. Relevance. Themes continue to resonate, emphasizing the importance of empathy and self reflection in today's world. Here are references. Thank you. If anyone wants to ask a question, please ask.
Hemali, my question, are there any character in the novel who do not exhibit pride or prejudice? How are they portrayed?
There are few characters like Jane Bennet and Mr. Darcy who don't exhibit pride or prejudice. Jane Bennet portrayed as kind, gentle, and amiable, and Mr. Darcy portrayed as friendly, and well, good-natured. If anyone.
Hemali, my question, why did Jane Austen choose the title Pride and Prejudice for her novel?
Jane Austen chose the title Pride and Prejudice for her novel because uh, these two qualities are central theme of the novel, and the title reflects character development and the relationship between Mr. Darcy and Elizabeth Bennet. Thank you.
So that was the last one. Okay, let me give a quick feedback to the things. So we had first one by ASHA. Again, a reminder to some of you that who are citing from study material websites. Avoid using study material websites. Go for quality material. JSTOR, ResearchGate. Many of you are citing from articles also, which you will see one or two good examples. So try to do that slowly and steadily. You can get a quality material from internet resources. You have put good questions on your websites, on your slides, like why are we finding monster in Frankenstein, or why blame others? These were good questions that you have put in this. There is, it reminds of one another novel by Julian Barnes. That is The Sense of an Ending, wherein he concentrates on why do humans blame others. And there is a very interesting psychology and various researches on this tendency of blaming others, finding faults with others, that is normally seen also. So that if you can reach to, when you Google, then you can find some answers also to this, that why when we ask questions, we blame the other things. Normally, as a human society, we want to escape from taking responsibilities, accountability, responsibility. That is the major concern in many of other presentations also. Victor Frankenstein and the question of responsibility, accountability. That so to avoid responsibility and accountability, we blame. So people used to blame science in terms of reading Frankenstein earlier. Then people started saying that why only blame science. Today we blame technology. But as we see, it is the humans who don't want to take responsibility. And so they blame something that is nirjiv, inanimate. Technology is not something that is doing things. It is the humans who do things with the technology. So why we blame? Because we want to escape from responsibilities. Divya present also cited from some essay websites which you have to avoid. Masterclass website you cited. You can easily find better resource for what is sci-fi. Good research work is being done on sci-fi, so you can easily reach to quality sources to get the meaning of the definition sci-fi, scientific fiction. For that, you need not go into study material websites. Jatin presented also well. There was a good point. You talked about 2 points. One point was good, where you discussed about this point, that in the contemporary time, we wanted to say that time means contemporary time. That is a better word rather than that. How this text was different from the contemporary times. And you brought good points also. I think this was also cited in your material, perhaps. Yeah, this is a good resource which was cited either in his or Jay's presentation. I don't remember, but this was cited in one of the things, and that was good comparison is given, which I will share this link on our material website, so you can compare the Enlightenment of 17th, 18th century and along with that Frankenstein's romantic values. This is a good resource there. So scientific fiction you talked about, which is science fiction of science, was different genre of sci-fi. Narrative, strategy, moral dilemma, the question on morality was something new, which Mary Shelley was raising. Female authorship also was a good point. These were good points there. About films was not still okay. Films rendering you also tried to discuss, but still it requires a bit deeper reading. We will have this Frankenstein in cultural studies also in semester 3. At that time, we will connect it with popular culture. When we talk about cinema or cartoons, we are talking about popular culture. So how in popular culture, Frankenstein is retold at that time we'll get some ideas to see that. Jai Solanki presented well. It was good, and you also referred to a good research article, which also had a good point to be seen. Let me. This article was on this artificial intelligence and Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, a comparative analysis of creation, morality, and responsibility. So this also is worth reading article when you talk about these points, and it has some very good points. This is written by Upakul Patoveri from Assam, and had discussed some very interesting points in the article: ethical implications, responsibility, and accountability of these things. Humanization of AI. So these were some good points which were discussed, and also as the way of writing. Many of you still struggle to learn about research writing. Last 2 points, you are not able to get good grip over that. For that also, reading such articles can be very helpful to see that how these references are cited, how they are referred within the text also. That can be useful in seeing these things. Jai Maruniya presented on Gothic literature. You also referred to an article, but you have not mentioned that name. That was Jihad Jamal Wahan from Iraq. Somebody from Iraq University has talked about Gothic literature, which you have used in your writing. But that name we have to mention with the thing. That is how we give acknowledgement to the people whose resources we are using. JAYSHRI had a good point. Chernobyl and Bhopal gas tragedy, that were good points that you have referred to. There was this gesture article which you have referred, and that is a good article which you have seen. This one, Monsters of Modernity. This was referred, and this again is a worth reading article. Frankenstein and the Modern Environmentalism. Again, in semester 3, when we will talk about post-colonial studies, we will talk about environmentalism then also. But this is good. Kim Hammond has written this for University of Oxford. So that should be referred. Kim Hammond should be referred in your slides also. I mean, again, you can say that Hammond argues this, or is telling to say or make these points also. And when you talk about such thing, you have to use images. Photographs can speak louder about Chernobyl or about Bhopal gas tragedy or any of these tragedies. When you talk, you can easily find photographs from internet. That should be put. Even in this article, you will find there is one image being given. So that also can give you an idea that whatever you want to say, if you use appropriate photograph, it will convey your idea in a better way in these slides. So don't use only text-based slides. Those who are using only text, this message is for them. That if you're using only text and no image, then try to put appropriate images. Krishna still had study material sites there. Okay. KUSUM also made a good presentation on creature and creation. Maya and Vishwa also presented that you need to improve. Both of you still need to work hard and improve on various things. And HEMALI's also was good. The last one, slides were quite well prepared by HEMALI on title, Pride and Prejudice. Okay, so with this we end this session. Okay?